Hello everyone and welcome to this video. If you're watching this, then your objective is to find a job. So what if I told you that finding a dream job can actually be faster than finding just any job? Let me explain what I mean. So what's a dream job? A dream job is simply a job that we love doing. A job where a big chunk of what we actually get to do during the day corresponds to what's natural to us, what we love doing. And so naturally, we find ourselves losing ourselves in the flow and in the enjoyment and in the excitement of actually doing those activities. Um, a lot of people believe that they can't find a dream job. They don't even look that way. They just don't even think that's possible. Why would that be? Well, these are the remnants of the industrial society when that was not even a conversation. People were prepared to just perform a certain function at a factory or in the industrial complex. And what we have up today is that, well, even our parents, not necessarily they actually support us in finding and then doing what we love doing. They don't necessarily celebrate us when we do something naturally. Uh, we tend to overlook it as society, and even in the educational system, in the kindergarten, in the higher education, in high school, in at the job, even at the job, people are not that interested really in finding out what is it that we're great at. And so it perpetuates as a whole system, right? The bosses at the job don't really know what they're natural at and what they love doing the most. And so when they hire, they don't check for that for their employees. And so it just becomes a society that doesn't even that stops believing really that it's completely possible to be doing a dream job, not just a job. So the good news is that this is changing all over the world, and this is what we're gonna be talking about in the course of this short video and in the process that we're going through. So we will be aiming for a dream job, not just a job, not just any job, and this is completely possible. And you will see shortly what I mean by that. So I also want to say that dream job is not an ideal job. I'm not saying that the dream job is some kind of a perfection of a job where 100% of the time we get to do absolutely what we love, and then we don't get to kind of take out trash, or that is not that absolutely excites us. That doesn't exist. And so when we say dream job, we mean a job where you get to do more and more and more of what you actually love doing, what you enjoy doing, what you're natural at, what puts you in the flow where you are in your zone. So here is what we propose to get to this objective of finding a job. We propose a 3-step, fast and easy process to get to a dream job. Doesn't have to take a long time. It doesn't have to be challenging and daunting. It can totally be fast and easy. And so in the next slides, I'm going to be taking you through the 3 steps, what the 3 steps are, and you'll see for yourself. Essentially, this type of job search that we're talking about is a kind of an upside down version of the typical job search that people go on to. So when people go onto a job search, they kind of see all the jobs out there, and then they're like, well, I kind of like this role and also this role, but then I've been doing that role in the past, so probably I have to be doing that again. And so they try to fit in. They try to fit in into that kind of ocean bulk of jobs that are available. And here we're turning it upside down. We're starting with you, then we're identifying something about you that allows us to design a dream job for you so that then you can execute and go get that dream job. And it will get clear in a second. So there are 3 steps. In the step 1, we will be identifying your zone of genius. In step 2, we'll find matching organizations and roles where that dream job is potentially located. And then in the step 3, we'll get those job offers through something that is called online coffee chat approach. And we'll talk about that in a second. We'll talk about each step actually right now. So step 1, what is the zone of genius, first of all? The zone of genius People also call it unique gift. People call it superpower. People call it purpose. And what it is, in essence, is that it's all about using one's most potent strengths. So the very essence of the strengths of a person, because that's what puts one in the flow. That's what puts one in the zone. The idea is very simple: that whenever you do something that is that corresponds to your most potent strengths, then you're in your zone of genius. The idea is that we're all geniuses when we are in that zone of genius, when we get to actually apply those most potent strengths at work. And so the question is, how do we identify? Like, if I asked you or anyone, randomly, please tell me what your zone of genius is. People usually are challenged with this question, so they can't really necessarily put it into a sentence or into a very clear explanation. So in this step one, we're going to be doing exactly that. And how we'll be doing it, you'll be going through 3 personality tests that you will do on your own. And by the end of these 3 personality tests that take 1 hour, about 1 hour to complete, you will receive your zone of genius. So we will identify your zone of genius, and the way it looks is that we'll get it in one sentence and we'll get it in one paragraph. So you'll be able to know it, you'll be able to articulate it, you'll be able to do a lot of cool things with it actually just by itself, and go into the step 2, which we'll talk about now. So once you have that zone of genius identified, we will identify it again by looking at your most salient strengths and also weaknesses. So strengths are going to indicate your zone of genius, and weaknesses are going to also help us to, when we match it to organizations and job roles, to make sure that you actually stay away from your weaknesses in your job roles, so that other people can complement you. You don't have to do something that you're naturally not that good at. So then we'll move on to the step 2, and it is to find matching orgs and roles to that zone of genius we just identified. So we will have a strategy session where we talk and just work through a mini workshop where we identify those orgs, organizations, and role. How will we do that? We will use AI. We will use AI together. I will guide you through a sequence of prompts. So we'll start by feeding the information we received into the AI. We will feed it your zone of genius, your most salient weaknesses that I call Achilles, your Achilles. We will also feed your interests. We will feed your resume, and maybe something else if we decide to, but this is really the recipe, okay? These are the ingredients of this pie you're baking. So we'll feed all this input into AI, and then we'll have an interactive mini workshop where we will interact between you and AI to arrive to these matching roles and organizations through a sequence of pre-made prompts. So as we go through this process, the output of that process, the result, will be a list of prioritized job roles that you yourself will vet, choose, prioritize, prompted by during this workshop. And we will also have a list of matching organizations. So now we'll get into step 3. Step 3 is to actually go and get those job offers through this approach that I mentioned, that is that we refer to as coffee chats, online coffee chats. So here's how it works. I'm going to take you through a step-by-step process of how that works. And I learned this technique in business school. I went to the business school at MIT, and that's how they teach students to approach job search, through coffee chats. And well, it works. So the first step is to find those organizations that we identified in step 2 in LinkedIn. The second step is to, within those organizations, to identify and find the right people. Who are the right people? 2 categories. First, we're going to be looking for your potential peers, so people more or less matching your stage of career. And then we will also be looking for potential hiring managers. So these are the people that would hire typically someone like you, someone at that stage of career where you are at right now. Step three, you'll be sending them very short intros. We'll provide the templates for that. So it's just literally a sentence or two asking for a quick exploratory call, aka coffee chat. Then you will conduct those coffee chats. You'll connect with these people, you'll have a beautiful conversation with them, and then the magic will happen. So at this point, you may be feeling one of those reactions or emotions, or maybe a mix. And I understand. So let me take you to the essence of it, which is, will it actually work? Like, how do I know that it will work? So here's what I think. Let me tell you what these coffee chats are. This coffee chat works very beautifully because it's very different to a job interview, a typical job interview that you would have at a normal, job search process. It's a very different animal, this one. So instead of being, a boring, pretentious conversation where it's like a dance between the employer that is trying to sell their organization, but also maybe they don't care that much about the human being in front of them, and maybe they don't care that much about their strengths and if they love the job, but they care more about getting the stuff done. Uh, and the candidate, trying to also pretend a little bit and highlight their strengths, but really with just one central thought in mind. You guys give me the job, and then we'll see. Then we'll see. I'll probably I'll think about it, right? Like at this point, I just want the job offer, so I'm going to do everything to get the job offer, and that's kind of how the dance goes. So in this case, it gets turned upside down, so it becomes an actual exciting, authentic conversation. Yes, professionally oriented, but exciting and authentic. Why? Because it's not just a job interview. It's actually not at all a job interview. It's a coffee chat. It's an exploratory call of people that are excited or knowledgeable or interested in a particular topic of interest. This is a conversation of people that are excited, knowledgeable, or interested about a particular topic of interest. So it's very different. The energy flows, the energy goes up. It's exciting. There is excitement. I mean, I'm speaking as if it's something totally mind blowing. It may or may not be as exciting as I say. Uh, but what I'm trying to communicate here is that it's a very different animal. It's a different kind of conversation. And so, also in these conversations, we got to trust that the right people will resonate. So the right people will answer this request for a coffee chat. The people that don't match, they probably won't answer. In fact, the what's the word? The ratio of people that respond to this intros for exploratory calls is super high. You can expect 1 in 4, 1 in 3, or even every second person to actually respond and set up a call. This is quite crazy. I mean, it's unprecedented response rates. Unless we're talking about, writing to VPs of Apple or Microsoft and asking for a coffee chat. That's a bit of a different story, but that's not what we're going to do because many people do that. So the right people will resonate. They will also engage into these conversations, and the ones that will resonate the most are the most likely uh, job offers or beautiful conversations. So something else is that there is no need to close the deal. Like you're not there to convince them of anything. You're not there to sell yourself. You're having a conversation, and that changes everything because as I said, it's just a professionally oriented fun conversation. It's not yeah, a boring dance of convincing someone or selling anything. So you just won't seem needy or desperate. And if you've been doing job interviews and if you have been doing job search for a while, you know that there is this kind of vibe that we may get into sometimes in job interviews of like really needing that job, and that, as you can guess, as you can imagine, that doesn't help. That doesn't help. It's like wanting to find a life partner, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, and kind of projecting that vibe of like, I really need a girlfriend or a boyfriend. It obviously doesn't help. So same thing here. And in this conversation, there is way less of that energy if you have it at all. And so you can actually be cool without trying to be cool because you're talking about the topic of your interest. You'll see much clearer when you actually get to go ahead and try that. And so then you just allow the magic to happen. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of times, so this is a list of things that actually do happen during these conversations. One thing that happens is that they may reveal some very important intel to you, or even industry secrets or something like that, which may really open your mind to this particular niche that you're actually going. So you may find something that just opens your eyes, opens your mind to kind of shift your even search and look in maybe a slightly different direction. So that's a very common thing that happens. It's also common that they may refer you to their friends. So they may say, actually, I want to connect you to this friend of mine that works at this startup. I think you'll have a great conversation. So that's something else that happens. It also happens that they just say themselves, right? They just say, "Hey, would you like me to send your resume to our HR, or would you like me to send your resume to my boss?" That happens as well. Then something else that may happen is that they may just tell you upfront about roles that are just about to open in their organization, in their team. So this is a life hack really because these roles may not be on their webpage, may not be available and known to anyone. This is like insider information essentially that they're going to be sharing with you potentially. Or even better, and that happens as well, people just may want to create a position just for you. Okay. So if you come in, you know what your zone of genius is, you know what your interests are, you know what you especially love doing, you're enthusiastic about it, you probably have some experience of doing that, even if it's outside of workplace. People may just like you, and they may just say, you know what, we don't have an open position. We didn't think of having more members to our team, but we'd like to do something together with you. Okay. So that happens. So just allow the magic in these coffee chats to unravel. However, nothing can also happen out of that conversation beyond just you learning some, industry information, what the company does and what the person does, and their maybe outlook on life or something like that, which is okay too. That may happen in one conversation, and two, and three. It's less common than some of these things that I just talked about, but it's also okay too. So I want you to release your expectations and not expect, job offers just to rain on you from every conversation that you have, because just that very desire may prevent you from having that. So it's also important to just, be cool and just have these conversations, try it out, have the first one, the second one, the third one, get into the vibe, go through the first fears, and then just see what happens after these conversations. I also want to say that on our side, we cannot forecast or guarantee how many conversations, coffee chats it will take you till you get an offer, till you get a job offer. So nobody knows that. It depends on too many factors to even be able to say something. However, what I can say is that this is the fastest way to getting a job that I have ever heard of or known, and I've done some research. So take it or leave it. So ideally, and finally, when you do get into the stage of people, wanting to create a position for you, wanting to refer you to HR, and then HR coming back with open positions, or the hiring manager actually wanting to hire you to their team, then you will get to the stage of a job offer. And ideally, what you want to do is that you want to have enough coffee chats so that you actually get a few job offers at the same time. Why? Because having multiple job offers actually allows you to negotiate with each company. And so, and so, and so, what I want to drive home here is that the coffee chats is a very short path to getting a job offer, to getting a job, and not just any job, but a dream job. And so on our side, we're going to do our best. We're going to hold you by the hand so that the whole process is fast and easy, and that you don't have to get stuck. You don't have to, you know, bump into dead ends, and you just follow the shortest path, take all the shortcuts. So we'll tell you what tests to take to then come up with your zone of genius, to identify that. We'll tell you how to gather your interests so that that becomes the input for AI. We will help you to identify your zone of genius and your Achilles from the results of those tests for you, so that you just get the end result, which is the one sentence and the one paragraph of your zone of genius and of your Achilles. Then we will tell you how to arrive, or really do that with you together in that strategic session, to actually arrive at those particular job roles and those matching organizations. We will provide you with the templates for reach out messages. We will even give you suggestions how to have a successful coffee chat, which is really no brainer. It's just this conversation, it flows. That's really the main thing. But nevertheless, there are some tips. And on your end, you have to actually, walk this process with us. So will it work or not? It's really up to you, because you'll have to execute on these coffee chats. We cannot do it for you. We cannot. No one can, lose weight for somebody else. No one can gain muscle mass for somebody else. It's just not how life works. People do it themselves. So in this particular process, we're guides, and you are the one doing everything. You are the one doing everything. You are the one that is empowered, and you just use the help of guides. Thank you for listening, and excited to engage with the process with you.